Welcome to the Long Story Short Power PR Podcast with your hosts, Mark Goldman and Ryan McCormick. Our featured guests of today are Mr. Steve Allen and Ms. Kate Delaney. Before we begin today's show, please focus on the quote at hand. Next to doing the right thing, the most important thing is to let people know you are doing the right thing, and that's by John D. Rockefeller. Let us begin. Joining us now is Steve Allen, president and founder of Steve Allen Media. He's been in business for over 26 years, and Steve Allen Media is a bi-coastal PR firm. A little more about him by going to his website at steveallenmedia.com. Mr. Allen, welcome to the program. What would you say would be your top two best pieces of advice for successfully cultivating relationships with the media?
Ooh, hey, thank you so much. Love the show. Love you guys. Thank you. The best advice would be to gain a relationship. First of all, gain a relationship with that media contact. How do you do that? Obviously, in this day and age, especially as time wears on, no one likes the telephone. But email them, and if they email you back and you're sending professional advice written in a wonderful way, they may make a mistake and leave a phone number. So then maybe you can reach out and say hello and establish a relationship. A relationship is everything, and especially if you're sending good material, not being pushy with it, very clear, something that's usable. They love professionalism because you are a professional and they are a professional. The second best advice that I would give you is be consistent. Be consistent. Try to reach out to them often. Not too consistent because you don't want to be a pain in the you-know-what. You would like to do, have a relationship. So, hey, on a monthly basis or so, you send something that's professional so they get used to wonderful things coming their way from a very classic, stylish PR person.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. All right, so before you got into public relations, you were an actor. What would you recommend to people getting into the public relations field, the people that want to become a publicist or a media relations expert? What would you recommend they do, before they get into this field?
Well, before they get into the field, good question, Mark, because, what makes a publicist, a good PR person? Well, first of all, you have to have a decent personality in the sense that you don't mind meeting people or getting on the phone or shaking somebody's hand or saying hello. If that's a big deal, then that's going to be a tough profession for you to be in. Not that there isn't other professions that you can sort of be what you want and do what you want, but being in the PR world is sort of requires sort of an outgoing personality, someone to break through all those little fears that that they can't do it or what have you. I love telemarketers, that they're great. I love actors, they're great. Someone that actually feels good about themselves and doesn't mind shaking a hand or saying hello to somebody. And of course, you should have communication skills, meaning writing skills, also be able to write and to be able to communicate besides being on the phone or meeting in person. But I would say someone that doesn't mind saying hello, Mark. Someone doesn't mind shaking a hand.
Excellent response. All right, well, you're listening to the Long Story Short PR podcast. We got Steve Allen on the Newsmaker line. Steve, we know that a lot of the clients you work with, you love to put out there, you love to pitch, you love to get them a lot of media. What do you do about the clients that you don't love as much?
Ooh.
Great question, Mark.
Well, what you try to figure out is try not to get into that situation earlier. Because if you can cut it and not work with them in the beginning because you're feeling like, hey, this is going to be a tough campaign, obviously that's what we would do. But sometimes, like you're thinking, you don't discover that till months into the campaign. Hey, you put your cards on the table, the both of you. You try to get up every day. You try to honor them and be a professional. And for some reason, if it's just not working, maybe you have to have a heart-to-heart with the client and say, what can we do to correct this? Because this is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? And if you can't, just shake hands and go and part. And if it's a high-paying client and you got to keep it. Well, maybe you have to suck it up. Maybe you have to eat it because our team really needs the cash at this moment, and do a good job because sometimes it is raining out. Sometimes there is lightning, and sometimes it is snowing. Well, I got to keep going to work anyway. So sometimes you have to deal with those elements too.
And Mr. Steve,
Thank you.
Final question I have for you is this: is that Mark and I, we view you as a mentor. I mean, we love how ethical you are, how moral you are, how you treat your clients, and we would call you an exceptional publicist. And for people that are out there that are looking for firms, I'm sure they're going to be interviewing a lot of firms to work with them. What is the difference between a great PR firm and what is the difference between an exceptional PR firm? And how can you tell the difference between a good PR firm and an exceptional PR firm within the first 5 minutes of talking to someone?
You know, that's a great question. I tell you, I think that the best answer for a client who's in a company that's in search of a PR firm is to ask that PR firm where their strength is. Well, what is your favorite client? You know, here's someone, a potential, asking the publicist, what are your favorite things? What do you really guys? What do you do most of? Because every PR firm really has a niche, or that they're into. They may have 2 niches, they maybe have 3, but they sure as heck don't cover the whole pie. That's for sure. So, what slices of the pie do you guys, water in? Where do you guys go most of? Are you guys into health medical? Are you guys mostly lifestyle? Or I mostly deal with spirituality. I mostly deal with outdoor boating. Or I'm into wine and food. Have the publicists talk about what they like to do most. And then when you hear that, you can go, Then the potential can sort of say, wow, that's really what I do. Because a lot of publicists, I do believe, will say, hey, I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. Hey, I can do that too, because they need the business. Well, that's really not their strength, but they need the business. So sometimes they may say, hey, look, I can do that. And because most good publicists, Ryan, have access to databases, well, hey, I can find out, media that cover comedy acts, or I can find media that covers, pole vaulting. Hey, I could do that. So, so it's not hard sometimes for a publicist to get those contacts, but it's really not something they do frequently. You want to find a publicist that does what you do frequently, and those are the waters that the publicist swims in. So if I'm health medical, boy, I'd love to hear a publicist say, our strength is health medical. That's what we do all the time. We do a lot of TV. We do a lot of radio. We do all kinds of bookings in the media. That's a nice matchup. They do what I have.
Mr. Steve Allen, president of Steve Allen Media. I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Learn more about Steve Allen by going to his website at steveallenmedia.com. Thank you so much, Mr. Allen. Appreciate it. Joining us now is Kate Delaney. She's an award-winning national radio personality who's interviewed over 12,000 people in 20 years. She's host of America Tonight, which is nationally syndicated in over 200 stations. Learn more about Ms. Kate Delaney by going to her website at americatonightradio.com. Ms. Delaney, welcome to the program. What is the first thing you look for in a great publicist and getting some great pitches?
Well, what I look for is the relevance. Is the subject line tell me anything about what I'm interested in? And I look for what is it that they're pitching me that would be valuable, relevant information, content, exciting to the listeners of the show. And I can tell right away if somebody pitches me something and they have no idea even what the show's about, because sometimes they pitch me things that would never, ever make it on my kind of a show, but they obviously haven't paid attention to what it is that I do. So I think they need to realize they need to marry their content to what I like.
Kate, very interesting stuff. It's Mark Goldman here. What kind of a publicist really makes you angry, and why?
I think a publicist who doesn't follow through. And I'm happy to say I haven't had that happen very much, and certainly not recently. But somebody who pitches me something, says we're definitely going to do it, and then all of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth, and I've protected that spot on the show, so I didn't book anyone else, and now they've disappeared. Something happened, or they didn't get me the right kind of information. Then that's really a hassle.
Okay, what are the types of guests that you look for on your show? What types of guests are you actively seeking right now?
Well, it's almost like what I said in the beginning. Somebody who's relevant, where there's a news hook, where it matches to what people are talking about, what the buzz is. Whatever the stories are that are big out there that people are talking about in their backyards and their neighborhoods. That's the kind of information I look for. So I'm looking for guests who are tied to whatever the news hook is.
Kate, what stories do you hate? What stories will you not book on the show? What stories will you just say, what's going on with this guy?
Well, I think stories that, again, it goes to matching what I'm talking about, what's happening that's interesting, that people want to hear about, what's relevant to them. So if it's a really obscure health story, if it's a guest that just absolutely would make no sense for America Tonight, so something that is too deep in minutia, like a kind of a twisted sort of over academic kind of story, not where it's got useful data and there's polling or something that's been done that's relevant, but just pounding me with some sort of kind of corporate-ese or material that just would not fit into the style of America Tonight.
Okay. And Kate, how do you like your information presented? What is the best format for somebody to present the information to? Some people will send a press release, some people will send a guest pitch. I mean, what is the best way?
Fantastic question, Ryan.
That is a great question. I could, if it's a good press release and somebody sends me a press release and it's who, what, where, when, and why would we care, or if it's a really well-crafted email where you can tell they know what they're pitching, the pitch is relevant, and it gets me right away. Anything that's too long-winded and I've gotten press releases that are 3 pages long and you don't even get to what the relevance is until the tail end of it. I'll never get through that.
Excellent information. You know what? Do you ever do in-studio interviews? And if not, are all your interviews done over the phone? And how angry do you get when somebody's on a cell phone that's not, the best? Luckily I haven't had too many problems with that, only occasionally, but it's not great if the cell phone's not good. The biggest problem, Mark, that really we have is that people have this tendency to put themselves on speakerphone, or they do the Bluetooth, and Bluetooth technology doesn't sound good when it's over the airwaves, when it's over the radio waves. I don't know why, but holding the phone up to your mouth is much better than doing it that way, and that seems to be a problem. Or there's background noise, way too much background noise. You got to try to find a quiet place so we can understand what you're saying, because you don't want to lose that interview, and you want other people to hear it. So it is important where you are and what you're on. So you don't like dogs barking in the background or sirens? Is that what you're saying?
No, unless it's relevant to the story. Now, if you're at the Olympics or there's just been some kind of crash and you're at the site and you're calling us and we hear sirens in the background, hey, that's fine. But it's when there's too much noise that you just can't make out what the person's saying, then it's too difficult.
A final question for you, Ms. Delaney, is, in addition to offering you strong guests, what are some of the ways that publicists can be an asset to you? What are some of the ways that you can be helped in all of your activities?
Hey, pitch me a story that nobody knows about, or pitch me something that, because you know what my show's about, you say, oh, she'd love this, and just get in touch with me. The more you build that relationship and that connection, the more I'll have a tendency to want to help the publicist out. Or you give me an A-line guest who's incredible. And, for example, I have some people in Hollywood that represent famous actors and not so well-known actors. But I'll put the not-so-well-known guys on because they help me with some of the frontline guys. So I'm looking for publicists to be my friend, not my enemy. So the better they can relate to what I like, or pitch me things that people wouldn't know about, or something they think that's unique and interesting, boom, they have a good chance to get in.
Ms. Kate Delaney, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Kate Delaney, again, host of the nationally syndicated America Tonight, and heard on over 200 stations nationwide. She's also an award-winning national broadcast personality. Learn more about Kate Delaney by going to her website at americatonightsradio.com. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ms. Kate Delaney.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, that concludes today's edition of the Long Story Short Power PR Podcast. Special thanks to our great guests, Mr. Steve Allen and Ms. Kate Delaney. To learn more about the Long Story Short, please go to our website at goldmanmccormick.com. We'll see you here next week. Thanks for listening.
Want to be heard or seen in front of millions of people? Want to be an expert on TV or radio? Goldman McCormick PR is a New York City-based public relations agency that specializes in traditional and social media placement for law, finance, media, and corporate-based clients. Goldman McCormick PR also are specialists in website development, radio show creation, press conferences, media training, and so much more. Check out GoldmanMcCormick.com for more information. GoldmanMcCormick.com.